family. Welcome to another episode of the Saturday Sit Down, hosted by just me. Hopefully, it's your favorite, Miss Erin Bull, host of the Beacon of Truth podcast. Typically, this is also co hosted by Miss Lovey, host of Live, Laugh, and Lovey podcast, who is absent this evening due to another event. Y'all know quarantine is over, okay? She is out in the world, so it's just me and you, baby. So let's talk about some things. Well, number one, how are y'all? How was your week? Once again, I've had a long week, but I'm yet holding on, baby, yet holding on. I hope that you all have had a good week. Um, I probably won't be before you long because it's just me, so I don't have a whole lot to talk about. But I do have a couple of things. Number one, so Derek Chauvin was sentenced to 22 and a half years this week for the murder of George Floyd. I was actually shocked. I don't know how much time would have made us feel like justice was served, but I'm glad that he got the amount of time that he did. I was holding my breath. Obviously, he was charged, so he wouldn't have gotten off. But y'all know how this goes, and you know the scenario. So I thought maybe there was a slight chance that it would be something small, or they would find some little catch or something to give him less time. So 22 and a half years, that's almost a typical life sentence. Life sentence is 25 years or starts out at that. But hopefully that brings some peace to the family. I hope that it will serve as a warning, maybe, and hopefully as a turning point that if these police keep doing those type of things, that there will be consequences. So I don't know. What are y'all thoughts about that? How y'all feel about the Chauvin charges? 22 and a half years. And I'm hoping that he does the whole 22 and a half years. Let's not do that, 22 and a half, do such and such. You know how it goes. I don't know. What else did I have for you? Oh, since it's just me, let me explain some things to y'all. Every week I post a link for you to click on to join the show. It's always in the comment section. It may not be available if you're depending on how you watch it, but it's on YouTube. You can click on the link and come on and, provide feedback, add your comments or whatever. And you don't have to show your face. I know that some of you have wanted to click the link, but you're like, oh, my hair ain't done, whatever. Let me show you something. Real quick. So if you click the link and choose not to show your face, you create an avatar, and this is the avatar that I have set for whenever I'm not running my camera. So just a little fun fact there. So don't be shamed, don't be scared. But nevertheless, so if you have some thoughts or feedback or anything that you'd like to add to the show, you can always feel free to click the link at any time. And it does not just bring you straight on the show. It brings you into what's considered the back room, where I can see you and then choose to add you on. So I can see you, and if you're still trying to get yourself together, I'm going to hold off before I add you to the show. But yeah, so there's that. In the wedding news, we have secured a photographer. And makeup. Yes, that's what else we did. So making progress, checking boxes. We're 9 months away. 9 months away, counting down. I'm a little nervous. Not about the marriage part, but just about the wedding. And, right now it's just checking the behind the scene boxes. So nothing really is being done or set yet. You know what I mean? So it's just like, oh, is it going to happen? Oh, I hope so. Hey, Robert. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to get into. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about effective communication. So let's get into it. I want to make sure I took care of the appetizers before we get into the main course, and I think that we are ready. So Effective communication is two parts. It is about clear conveyance of a message, thought, or feeling, as well as clear reception. And effective communication is not the same as uh, agreement. So, the goal of effective communication is actually mutual understanding. It's not always mutual agreement. It just depends on the information or the thoughts or feelings that you're trying to share or convey. And, just the stance in which you're coming from. Now, if you're just sharing your thoughts, then, that's different than you actually making a case for something. So, for example, my favorite color is actually blue, although I don't wear a lot of blue. I'm a diehard Falcons fan, so a lot of what I wear is red and black, or red and black mix, something like that. But actually, my favorite color is blue. And maybe your favorite color is is red or purple, orange, green, whatever. So if we were having a conversation, then the point would be just a mutual understanding of what is my favorite color versus what is your favorite color. It doesn't mean that we have to agree that, red is the best color or blue is the best color. It's just an understanding of that concept. And then obviously, there may be some times where you're actually trying to convince a person of something or explain your feelings about something or your thoughts about something. So in that case, it may be a point of mutual agreement or mutual understanding. And sometimes the mutual agreement is simply that we agree to disagree. So to some tips about just effective communication. Number one, sometimes the more familiar you are with the person you're talking to, the harder it is to communicate with them, oddly enough, because what happens is we know the person. So we know how they think, we know how they feel, we know what upsets them or what makes them happy, things like that. So sometimes what we have to say kind of goes against that. So we get lost in focusing on their reaction or their response versus what we are actually trying to say. And what we have to do in those instances is just kind of put your filters on or your blinders on and stick to your point. But make sure you have a point. Don't just ramble and expect for somebody to be able to receive that. And also, effective communication is about two parts. Like I said, it's about clear conveyance and also clear reception. So that means effective listening. And effective listening, sorry, my fan is blowing, so my papers are blowing everywhere. I'm put a little paperweight right here so that stops. All right. Effective listening is more than just allowing the other person to speak. It's also acknowledging what they're saying along the way. If there is a disconnect, allow the person to finish that thought and ask to interrupt. Don't just stop or stop them in midstream, because clearly that's rude and you could interrupt their thoughts. And if they're anything like me, if you interrupt me while I'm talking, I'm probably going to forget what I had to say anyway. So there goes the effective communication. And the listening part, like I said, it's multiple layers to listening. You want to, yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you're not sure of some things, just say, can I get a little clarity on what you just said? And at the conclusion of what the person is saying to you, they should kind of summarize or recap what they said, but you need to summarize and recap what you heard. And that's how you get to mutual understanding, not always mutual agreement. When you're listening, you need to listen without filters. The person may be saying some things that you don't agree with or that you don't like. Set that to the side and give that person a space to go ahead and finish that thought and everything. And first, understand what they said, because you may be developing feelings about how you took it versus how they meant it. So again, mutual understanding. Let's see what else. So some barriers to effective communication are emotions, lack of focus, inconsistent body language, or negative body language. So again, majority of the time that we talk to people, it's emotion based, either because we're feeling happy about something, feeling sad about something, confused, frustrated, or whatever. There's some sort of emotion tied to it. So when we're coming from an emotional place, you still have to speak with a filter. You know, yes, I'm upset, but I don't need to be disrespectful. You can convey your frustration, irritation, dismay, disappointment, whatever negative emotion is associated with the thought. You can convey that without attacking the person you're speaking to. Because once you do that, you lose the ability to effectively communicate. 9 times out of 10, that person is now responding to how you said things versus what you said. So the mutual understanding won't be reached. And if they're anything like me, I'm going to shut down if I have respect for you. If I want to maintain the relationship that we have and you're saying some mean, hurtful things, I'm just going to shut down. I'm just going to shut down. Inconsistent body language can be distracting to a person you're speaking to. If you're like, yes, I'm so excited about getting married. Like, I can't wait. Nothing about how I looked matched my excitement for getting married. And now a person is confused and your message is unclear. And once you have delivered an unclear message, you can expect an unclear reception, but it happens. So that's why you recap what you're saying and they recap what they've heard. And then the discussion continues until a mutual understanding is reached. Tips for effective communication. Like I've already said, be an engaged listener, be an active listener. Don't just, listen for your turn to speak. Listen for a pause. Listen for the end of the conversation. Listen for understanding. Focus on the speaker. Don't, be distracted. Don't try and multitask, especially, let me take a break on this. When somebody is opening up to you, they're exposing their vulnerability, they're allowing you to see their vulnerable moment, you have to take that into consideration and be careful in how you handle that, because in this world today, it's hard to be vulnerable with anybody because everybody's looking for an opportunity to kind of throw it back at you. So if you still have people that value you enough to be vulnerable with you, appreciate that and give them that space. And as somebody is talking to you about some things that kind of expose their insecurities or even their vulnerability, reassure them that they're in the right place. Now, if you're not in the mood for it, if you're not with it, respect them enough to be clear. Like, hey, this ain't my fight right here, dog. Don't leave a person just flailing like that, because I know we've all been there where you thought you were talking to the right person, but you ended up I'd have been better off if I hadn't said anything. But back to being an engaged listener, you want to avoid interrupting avoid interrupting and also avoid redirecting. So for example, like I said with the colors, if I tell you that my favorite color is blue, I've always liked it because of this and that, whatever reasoning. Yeah, well, my favorite color is red and da da da. It's not about you right now. It's not about you. This is just about mutual understanding. Don't take a person's shine and turn the light on yourself. Now, if it's a conversation, there should be, a give and take. I speak, you speak, I speak, you speak. And the conversation should transition onto different topics, but make sure that the first point is exhausted before you move to the next one. Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, I don't mean to get off subject real quick. And then they're on to the next subject and the next subject and the next subject. And you never get to finish what you initially were talking about. So be mindful of those things. And then just set aside judgment. Set aside judgment. People come from different backgrounds, different places, different experiences. Things hit people differently. You may think it's minuscule, but if it is important enough for a person to talk to you about it, give them that respect, and you don't have to say, oh, well, that's just petty. This is what you're wasting your time on. You never know. And that's another opportunity for clarity, for understanding, like, why does this matter so much to you? What is it? And you can maybe help them dive deeper into themselves and get a better understanding of what the underlying issue is. And then provide feedback. Have you ever talked to somebody and they actually allowed you to speak? And then you're like, hello? Hello? Are you there? Yeah, I'm listening. Are you? What'd I say? And also, providing feedback is not just about repeating verbatim what they said. It's about repeating what you understood. And that way they can make sure you got what they meant. Because we do misconstrue things, especially when we're coming from emotional places. So when you're talking about something that is sensitive to you, something that, is tied to your emotions, it's difficult because you want to clearly convey whatever the concern is or the issue. And it's not always a problem. So effective communication is not just done when there's a problem. It's most often done when there's a problem, but it could be anything, whether it's somebody just calling to express their excitement about this new thing in their life or this, that, the third. You know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be that there's an issue and it doesn't even have to be about you. They could be calling to talk to you about a situation in their life that has absolutely nothing to do with you. So this effective communication is not just about problem solving or, when there's like conflict resolution. It's just about conversation and just respect. Right. I got a few comments. I didn't say hey to everybody. Okay. Sylvia Jones, Robert King, Courtney Jones, of course. Let's see what we got. No, everyone is mature. Not everyone is mature enough to engage with a conversation with you. To engage in a conversation with you. Ooh, chaps. Stop using that voice to text. Slow down. Also, pause. Let me add that little caveat. On the show must go on. We have to carry the conversation. I get that a lot of you all are typing. So if you have something to add to something that I've said and have moved on from, go ahead and leave it in the comments anyway. I'm going to go back and readdress it. Just make sure you leave me a little context so I can make sure to tie it together properly. But I know some of you called me offline like, hey, you were talking too fast. I didn't want to say this or say that. Go ahead. It's a comment box. It'll be there. It doesn't, erase or anything like that. So if you have anything to add to anything that I'm saying, have said last week, whatever, let's talk about it. Yeah, that's what we're here for. But nevertheless, not everyone is mature enough to engage in a conversation with you. To properly engage in a conversation with you. I don't think that it takes a certain level of maturity for conversations. I think that it takes a certain level of maturity for communication and for clarity. Excuse me. But you do have to take into consideration the person that you're speaking to. Are you talking to a child? Are you talking to an adult? Are you talking about something that they are unfamiliar with? So you may have to give some context and some backstory. Also, if you're talking to somebody and they don't understand or you don't understand what they're saying, it doesn't mean that it's stupid or invalid. It just means that you need more information, more feedback. Because I can't stand to be talking to somebody and they say, well, that doesn't make any sense. That's just stupid. Is it stupid or are you stupid? Because you're the one that doesn't understand. I clearly understand what I'm saying and feeling. I'm speaking English. And, you have to be mindful of the type of feedback you provide. Again, think about what is your motivation. Now, if you're not interested in having, a peaceful conversation or mutual understanding, then you can say whatever you want to. But if your goal is mutual understanding, watch your words. I mean, even if somebody is attacking you, ask for clarity, because you may just be a hit dog or holler, as they say. I don't know how else to translate that, y'all. I'm sorry. They may be stepping on your toes and it was never their intentions. But that's where your feedback comes into play. And then the two of you can come together and say, well, no, that's not what I meant. Or, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Because sometimes people are going to hurt your feelings. Just sorry. But it shouldn't be a tit for tat or going back and forth about it. If a person is telling you, hey, this really hurt me when you this or that, respect that. Don't come back with, well, this really hurt me when this or that. Like, first of all, nobody's issue is getting addressed. And that's a type of redirecting. If you had an issue, speak on it when you have the issue. Don't hold on to your issue until they present you with an issue and now you trying to trump them. Like, nah, that's pointless. And let's see what else we got. Or is not mature enough to understand and respect your differences. Right. I mean, and everybody's not going to think like you. You're not going to think like everybody else. And, we don't always have insight into the people that we deal with. Our closest friends, significant others, parents, things like that. We obviously do have a little more insight. But, if you're just passing somebody in the street and they say something to you, or maybe you're having a small talk conversation and, you just have a different opinions, don't get hung up on it. I don't know. People just get so hung up on words and issues and not really focused on resolution. I'm about maintaining my peace. That's just me. So for that reason, I ain't trying to let a whole lot of things upset me. Now, I'm human. So you could say something that rubbed me the wrong way, but I'm going to move on shortly. Now, if you matter to me, it'll stick with me a little longer, but person on the street, I ain't giving them that energy. And I think that, right now we're just in a society that is selfish, or I'm not even selfish, but more of self-centered, and not really even seeking to think about the other person. We're lacking empathy right now. Just our ability to put ourselves in other people's shoes, and I don't know. I don't get it. What's that about, y'all? Walking and talking, typing. But yeah, so be an engaged listener. Let's see what else we got. Pay attention to nonverbal signals. If somebody's talking to you and they're giving you mixed signals, acknowledge it. Don't just try and interpret one or the other. Like, hey, I hear you saying this, but your body is saying that. What am I supposed to get from this? What are we doing here? I'm confused. And then keep stress in check. So if you are having a heated conversation or even an emotional conversation, be mindful and make sure that your message is sticking to the point and not to the moment. You may be talking about just anything that matters to you. And maybe you don't feel like that person is receiving it or responding to it the way that you would like. So now your emotions are going towards their actions versus what your initial point was. Stick to your point. Take breaks when you need to. And if mutual understanding is the point, allow the other person to speak. Don't just ramble on and on and on and on and on. And because if you do that to me, like you go on a 5 to 10 minute rant or vent or monologue, I may not have a whole lot to say at the end of it because you said a whole lot in them 10 minutes. Like I said, pause to collect your thoughts. And Don't just try and fill in. Like, okay, you ever been talking too fast and you start to lose your thoughts, so you ramble a little bit because you don't want to be interrupted? Don't do that. Just breathe and tell the person, like, hey, hold on, I lost my thought for a second. Give me a second and think about what it is that you want to say and make one point. You may have a list of points to make, but for effective communication, you need to deliver it one point at a time. Point one, convey that point, discuss that point, make sure that they have received it the right way. Y'all have a mutual understanding, maybe a mutual agreement about it, and then move to your next point. Don't give them, oh, point one, point two, point four, point five, point A, point three, because y'all know we don't go in order when we got a list of things. And deliver your words clearly, your message clearly. Use the right words. Think about who you're talking about. Don't use, what's the word? Words that have dual meaning and think that somebody's supposed to understand it. I mean, you think about the person that you're talking to. Are they, don't, because one, you're talking about something that they know nothing about. Why do they know nothing about it? Because it's coming from you. It's your feelings, your thoughts. So you have to consider what your point is, and it's that specific thought. Now you can't come with this new thought that you're introducing to somebody, mix with this jargon or whatever you want to call it, and like now I have to figure out the actual words that you're using and the actual message you're trying to tell me. I'm confused. I'm going to be confused. That's not going to help me understand. Summarize and stop. Now, what causes us to ramble is that now that we finished our thought, we're kind of having second thoughts about that first thought. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, I want spaghetti for dinner. And y'all know, because I'm not going to get up here and put some real issues out here. I don't know. Y'all give me something, okay? But I want spaghetti for dinner. And you tell that to somebody, and then they kind of have response. Well, maybe, we could do fish, maybe chicken, and now you're fumbling to try and find the right thing to respond, to make their body language change or something like that. No. Stick to your point, summarize your point, and then just stop there. Any second thoughts or additions or further explanations, allow the person to ask you for that. And then agree to disagree. I'm going to say it one more time. Agree to disagree. No matter how you feel about it. Sometimes you all cannot reach a mutual agreement, but every time you can reach a mutual understanding. Period. Now, you can ask for justification in certain situations. Sometimes it may require more conversation, but just let people be. Like they're not entitled to have their thoughts and beliefs line up with yours. And then you just have to consider, if it's that much of a violation for you, do you want to continue this relationship, this connection with this person? Whether it's friend, significant other, somewhere in between, somebody with benefits, whatever. For example, V loves camouflage. I hate it, unless you're actually in the military. But if you a civilian wear camouflage, why? I can't stand it. And he at the truck stops, he finds a lot of camouflage stuff. And, okay, he loves it. I don't. Do you, boo? Do you? Just don't wear it when we together. That's it. Like, agree to disagree. I'm not going to sit up here to have a whole sermon on why you shouldn't wear camouflage. It's trivial. It really is. And then be assertive in your thoughts. Not aggressive, not hurtful, not hateful or hostile, but be assertive. Stand behind your words. I was kind of hoping that we could go to the mall today. No. You have a thought, you have a feeling, you're entitled to it. Stand behind it. Because if you deliver it poorly or weakly, then that leaves an opportunity or room for somebody to take it and run with it or totally ignore it. No. Just be assertive. Say it with confidence. And the best way to do that is to take some time and collect your thoughts. Know what you mean. Know what you want to say. Know what the point is. What is it that you really want to convey to that person? And again, these tips for effective communication, that's for anybody you communicate with, whether it's work related, romantic relationships, friendships, family. It's across the board. I tell them, hold up a minute, my brain just cut off. Give me a second. Exactly. And be respectful of the person that's speaking, because I know what it's like to have somebody say something to you that you absolutely do not agree with. Let them finish. Breathe before you respond. And remember what the goal is. What is the point? Is it just to check them? Is it mutual understanding? What is the end goal, period? So that's your tips on effective communication. I had some other things to add, as always, y'all, but my brain cut off, as Courtney says. But I wanted to talk about just effective communication, because right now we have so many means for communication that I don't think they get used effectively. And pretty much for like the last year, everybody has an opinion and is entitled to share it. But when you respond to it, now they mad. Or if you present them with a different scenario, like, no. I'm going to shift a little bit. Let's talk about some social media. Okay, bonus topic, social media. So over the last easy 5 years, but definitely the last 2 years, social media has taken a turn. Some good, some, but a lot bad. Social media originated just as a place for connection or a long distance connection. Like, okay, y'all, I'm gonna show my age. I came from like AOL and MySpace, Black Planet. Okay, y'all probably don't know nothing about them pages, but Black Planet and MySpace used to be like dot matrix format for communication. Black Planet was obviously the black version of MySpace, but they were pretty much compatible. Obviously, you had more users on MySpace than Black Planet, and then eventually, I think Black Planet turned into like a dating site or something. But now, you can actually get real news from social media. Facebook, Twitter. Well, Twitter's kind of always been a source for real news, but Facebook is really kind of getting there now. You can actually get your local news, the New York Times, like legitimate news articles. Because y'all remember there was a period of point where Facebook was only for fake news. Like if people talk about, oh, I got it from Facebook, it was fake. It was fake. And then pretty much maybe since the election, a little bit before, everybody has an opinion and feels entitled to share it and feels like you are absolutely stupid if you don't agree. And it's a lot of just negative energy, negative energy there. It's definitely not as enjoyable as it used to be. I know that I'm getting older, y'all, but I'm only 39. I ain't even reached 40 yet. So I know I haven't just reached that ornery old woman stage, okay? But it's just, I don't know. We got to do better with social media. I remember when Facebook came out, you had to be a college student to have access. I didn't even remember that fact. Probably because I was an adult when Facebook came out. But yeah. But nevertheless, so social media has kind of changed our in person interactions. And I don't know why. Like, why I don't, y'all help me. Is anybody else confused with the way that social media is working? And of course, all negativity gets more likes, views, comments, shares, exposure than anything positive. So it goes negativity, funny stuff, and then everything else. Like positivity, like true oh, and don't let it be religious. Oh. One like. But you share one of those world star fights, millions of views, hundreds of likes. We going this. And everybody wants to argue. Nobody wants understanding. Like y'all know, sometimes I do be on Facebook, read comments that ain't got nothing to do with me. I be looking at people arguing, and nobody is trying to give up. Oh, that's a good point. I see what you're saying. I see where you come from. No. Everybody is right, and the other person is wrong. What is the point? Like, why are we arguing with people on Facebook or Twitter or whatever? I guess it was quarantine. I don't know, but I know, like, initially on Facebook, all of my friends were family or people that I actually knew in life. I think over the last 3 years, I just started adding people, especially because I'm in a lot of football. Like, when I tell y'all, I'm in a lot of football groups. I'm in a lot. I'm in the NFC South group. I'm in the NFL group, or an NFL group, because y'all know it's thousands of groups. The Georgia Bulldogs, the Atlanta Falcons, and it's like 4 or 5 different. I know I'm in 10 football groups. So if that's how we're mutually related, then I add you if you send me the request. But I think over the last year, I just went to purging my friends list, though. Like, if I'm scrolling down the timeline and you just negative energy, unfriend. I ain't blocking people. I just unfriend you. I'm about protecting my peace. And there's so many people whose peace has been disturbed and they want to disturb others. Like, what does it matter what other people are doing as long as they're not physically interfering with other people? How a person's hair looks, who they dating, what they bought for their spouse. Oh, and y'all in these celebrities, honey. Like, them people ain't thinking about you. Them people ain't thinking about you. Do y'all have any of those friends, like, when you scroll, like, you see celebrity posts and you always see their names in the comments, like, really trying to shoot their shot at these celebrities? Like, bruh, sit down. Sit down. I had to talk to V. V used to get hot with these people on Facebook. He used to spend hours arguing about politics and football. First of all, baby, we Atlanta Falcons fan. Who we got to argue with? The Cowboys, maybe. Sorry, Courtney, but I'm just saying it's not a lot of people that we could rightfully argue with. Maybe this season, I don't know. But as a Falcons fan, we ain't got a whole lot of room to be talking. And then politics. That's a slippery slope right there. And I said this a long time ago when this, before, prior to the election, like headed into the election. I don't know when politics got so personal or when it got so public. That's still new for me. You know what I mean? I don't consider myself to be like a Democrat, but I sure can't be no Republican. Like, it's only two parties with any steam behind them. But if we had a legitimate candidate that ran on anything other than, I'd vote for them. But that used to be personal. Like, you could know a person's religion before you could know a person's political affiliation or preference or whatever you want to call it. But now they, changing their profiles to y'all. Obama was in office for 8 years. 8. I never changed my profile picture to his face. Not Michelle Obama, not Malia, Sasha, none of them, not the family. And, at first, I loved and supported them. I mean, I still admire them as a family, but no. And now you got people still running around with 45 faces as their profile pictures. Like, but I'm thankful. Like, oh, okay, let me know what you think. Remove. No, we're not doing that. And is anybody else having issues with these Bitcoin traders or whatever? But the good thing about them is they identify themselves, baby. They act like that. I don't know if they really. I have never met anybody that does this in real life. I've only seen it on Facebook. But you get these friend requests. It's always a nice, look like a stock photo of them sitting at a computer, and it says Forex trading, Bitcoin miner, such and such, Bitcoin manager, $ airplane, whatever, baby. No. And then they want, and you mess around. Oh, and except one. Oh, they all coming, honey. They're like, hey, we got us one. Come on over here. Come on over here. She accepted this. Oh, no, honey. I investigate every friend request now. And those Bitcoin people, they always have one mutual friend. One mutual friend. No, I'm not accepting nobody that has one mutual friend. I got 4,900 and some odd friends, and you only got one mutually? Not accepting you. I'm on one today, y'all. This social media thing is just kind of bothering me. And I think that, that's what I started with. Look, see, here I go. Speak to your point. Social media has actually, it was designed to, I guess, enhance or improve communications, but it seems to have eroded it a little bit. Like, we don't have for real proper or traditional communications, like conversations. That's what we don't have. Just a lot of arguments. And people post things and say things like, we can't see you. We see you. We see it. Don't be acting like we can't. Or they tell you, oh, this is my wall, you entitled to your opinion, or get off my page or whatever. Baby, I don't send friend requests. So if you on my page, you send the request. If you don't want somebody to comment on something, then don't put it out there. Just because Facebook asks you what's on your mind, don't mean you really get to fill in the blank. Is it just me? Y'all be having these problems? Or I'm just out here by myself? I don't know. Because I know my auntie ain't got no social media. Although she be sharing me all the social media clips. She know people with social media. But nevertheless, y'all, I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. Hopefully y'all found some value in the conversation about effective communication. Let me know your thoughts on that. If you're watching the replay, please be sure to leave some comments along the way. Let me know your thoughts on anything that was discussed in this episode or previous ones. But of course, let me give you your Black fact. So this week's Black fact, I still can't get that clear for y'all. I'm trying to figure it out. Harlem Renaissance. Harlem, New York, 1920s to mid-1930s. A cultural, social, and artistic explosion, new Negro moment, grew out of the changes that had taken place in the African American community since the abolition of slavery. Period of time when African Americans were encouraged to celebrate their heritage, racial pride, creative expression, and intellectualism. That's a big word for me. Sorry. Significant figures included Louis Armstrong, uh, Duke Ellington, Claude McKay, Zora Neale Hurston, Bessie Smith, Paul Robeson, and Langston Hughes. Ding, light bulb moment, y'all. Sorry. So, one more thing that I wanted to talk about when it comes to communication. Sometimes when a person is being vulnerable or opening up to you, they may giggle. They may even make jokes. Be cautious about laughing with them, because some people have a nervous giggle. Some people, as they get nervous and start exposing things, they just kind of giggle for no reason. Like, it's not really funny, but it's just a natural nervous reaction. So if they happen to say something that tickles you while they're pouring out their heart, and you laugh, just explain it. Laugh like, hey, I'm not really laughing at the situation, but just the way you phrased that last thing was kind of humorous. So, because, when people are being vulnerable with you, that's hard to do. It's very hard to be transparent, especially in 2021, honey. So don't miss that moment on that. But nevertheless, y'all, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. I hope you all have a great week. Stay safe, and I will see you next time. It is the Saturday Sit Down. Have a great week.